Okay, thanks again everyone for joining me in today's webinar session. My name is Mohammed Kader and I'm the technical lead in Jubilee Bros Solar Division. I will proceed with my slides. Today I will be presenting to you the Jubilee Bros company profile. Next, I will be speaking about Fusion Solar C&I Smart PV solutions, and at the end, I will give you a summary of the product portfolio from Huawei. Jubilee Bros is a 43 years old power solution company. We are established in 10 different countries, having 3 manufacturing plants in different countries. We have our all 29 branches in all of these 10 countries. We have 1,341 employees overall, and we are also having 70 dealers and distributors. These are normally in the countries where Jubilee Bros is not having an office themselves, so we are working through a chain of dealers and distributors there. Our vision is to be a pioneer in delivering conventional and renewable energy solution, and our mission is to be trusted by our customers to provide reliable energy solutions delivered through the expertise of our dedicated teams and the support of our global partners. About us, we started our operations in Lebanon in 1977. Then next, our branch was opened in 1992 in UAE, and in the following years, we established our branches in several different countries. The Jubilee Bros Solar Division was opened in 2017. And since then, we have been doing solar equipment distribution. We work on 6 key pillars for supporting our EPC customers for solar equipment distribution. The primary one is the product supply, which we do from our own and our distributors' warehouses through the Middle East and Africa. We are able to provide quick delivery since most of the time we have the equipment in our stock. Next to it is the training, such as these webinar sessions and seminars and one-to-one presentations. We do the training for the people in order to acknowledge them about the product specifications and technicalities. And number 3rd is the engineering support. If you have a project design and you want us to optimize it for you or look into special parameters to see if there's any suggestions, we are always there to support you and your engineering as well. Number 4th is the leads. Jubilee Bros being a very, having wide operations in several different countries, also receive leads from the end users, which we also forward to our trusted EPC partners. We also do referral to available finance. We have connections to key financing and investment companies in each region. And for your projects where you need financing, we can help you connect with them. Number 6 is the after-sales support. Engineers in Jubilee are certified by the products we represent. And we are giving you not only pre-sale support, but also after sales. We are always there to support you remotely, or if we have an office in that region, we would be even supporting you on the project side. So the key components that we supply are Huawei Fusion Solar Inverters and accessories, Lumax Energy Mounting Structure, which is a South African brand aluminum mounting structure. We work with Tier 1 solar PV modules. And we are now having PV diesel hybrid controllers and respective solutions for making a solar setup in parallel to diesel generators as well. Since our topic of the day is about Huawei, so just to tell you, we are the valued partner and certified service partner of Huawei Fusion Solar. The inverters from Huawei are made to have higher yields, resulting into more energy, and they have a smart O&M, which results into lower operational expenditure. And these are safe and reliable with 25 years reliability. In 2019, we delivered 1,396 inverters, which amounts to 69.26 megawatt. In 2020, we have delivered 1,804 inverters, which is in total 93.6 megawatt. Coming to the main topic of the day, which is the AI boost battery experience and optimal electricity cost using Huawei Fusion Solar commercial and industrial smart PV solutions. Just before I go to the main inverter slides, I have some slides about the profile of Huawei itself. You can see that the mainstream in utility scale projects a couple of years ago was mainly in central inverter designs, while in the years that is passing, we are seeing that a string inverter is getting more and more market share as compared to the central ones. This is because the smart string inverter from Huawei has made a trend in getting adopted to bigger size projects. So till the date, Huawei has supplied around 150 gigawatt plus inverters globally, and it has been the leading brand for global inverter shipments since the last 6 years. The product portfolio, quickly introducing you the residential range. We have Luna battery from Huawei now, along with the single phase and three phase inverters. There is power optimizer, and there is application for monitoring and commissioning of them. And in commercial and industrial smart PV solution, there is a data loggers from Huawei, which are called smart logger, and there is inverter sizes from 12 kilowatt up to 100 kilowatt sizes, and you have free monitoring platform along with these inverters and logger. In utility scale smart PV solution, Huawei has a smart transformer station, inverters, and also the monitoring platform. Fusion Solar C&I Smart PV solution. So the first inverter model or inverter range, I would rather say, from Huawei is from 12 to 20 kilowatt size, and then it is compatible with PV optimizer from Huawei, which is a 450 watt power optimizer, and there's a monitoring platform from Huawei, which is called Fusion Solar. And now Huawei has a latest range of 30 to 40 kilowatt inverters, which are also compatible with the smart PV optimizers. These inverter range from 12 kilowatt up to 40 kilowatt is also compatible with smart dongle, and there is a smart power sensor as well from Huawei, which can be used to do zero export or power control of Huawei inverters and the PV project. Another inverter size that is in the industrial and C&I sector is actually the 100 KTL-M1 and 100 KTL-M1 Pro. The M1 and the Pro version has a small difference of a feature. The The Pro version comes with additional feature of R for circuit interruption, and the M1 version doesn't have that. And these inverter of 100 kTL is also compatible with the smart dongle 4G. They are compatible with the smart loggers, the 3000A and 3000B, and you have a free monitoring platform again for these type of inverters. So talking about the 30, 36 and 40 kTL-M3 inverters, which is actually a new range of Huawei inverter. Previously, Huawei used to manufacture only 36 kTL inverter. Now that has been replaced with 3 different sizes, ending the model at M3. This is smaller in size as compared to the older 36 kTL and has less weight as well. So this occupies less area with lesser weight and easy to handle. The efficiency of these inverter is 98.7%, and it has 4 MPPTs, and you can terminate 8 different strings into these MPPTs. MPPT voltage range is from 200 to 1000 volts, and the design voltage normally should be considered at around 550 volt, which is actually the nominal input voltage range of this inverter. So these inverter range is now having higher current per MPPT as compared to the older one, which is 26 ampere now, and the older version used to have only 22 ampere per MPPT. These inverter is with higher current input is made capable of being used with the latest high efficiency PV modules which are having higher current. So these are compact in design, only 43 kg, lighter and smaller in size, and the protection degree has also been increased from IP65 to IP66, making it rugged enough to withstand even strong jets of water. So these range of inverter from 30 to 40 kTL are also compatible with the Sun 2450 watt HP PV optimizer. These optimizer is compatible from single phase up to 3-phase 40 kilowatt sizes, and these one type of PV optimizer can be used with any of these inverter models. So therefore this is called as one fits all model. It has a high efficiency of 99.5% with MPPT voltage range from 8 volt to 80 volt input, and max power or input voltage is 450 watt with max of 80 volt input. It is compact design, and it is 50% smaller than the previous generation that Huawei used to manufacture, and it is also 50% smaller as compared to the next available smaller PV optimizer in the market. The protection degree of these PV optimizers are IP68, and these PV optimizers comes with a warranty period of 25 years, which is equivalent to almost most of the PV module warranties in the market. So some case references about Huawei inverters. This is a project built in Shanghai, China, with capacity of 3.66 megawatt AC capacity. The inverter model used is Sun 2000-100 kTL, which is the 100 kTL model in our market. And another project built in Changi Airport, rooftop. The location is Singapore with the capacity of 2.8 megawatt. The inverter module used is Sun 2000-36 KTL. And another project for your reference from Beijing, China, the largest airport, having Huawei inverters installed in the system. The project size is 4.1 megawatt and uses the 60 KTL model in the PV plant. Another project at a mall, Vivo City Rooftop. The location is Singapore, the 830 kilowatt peak. Again, another C&I project. The model used is Sun 2000-60 KTL-M0. This is an IKEA project built on the rooftop in Malaysia for 1 megawatt, used Sun 2000-36 KTL inverter model and working fine with less than 0.5% failure rate every year. So this is another largest rooftop project in Middle East, in Dubai itself, the DP World project, which is at a harbor site, and the capacity is 25.8 megawatt, and the inverter models are Sun 2008-40 KTL, and this was actually installed and commissioned in 2017. So how our inverters are giving you optimal electricity cost? I will be going to the slides that will define it for you. So I personally like this slide, which is actually giving you an idea of the core values that Huawei inverters provide in your PV projects is actually to reduce the BOS cost as compared to the traditional string inverter in the market. And also these will reduce the O&M cost as compared to the traditional string inverters in the market. On the other hand, it will give you higher yield as compared to other string inverter in the market. So Huawei inverters are normally built in order to beat the features available in the market and make it an advanced solution and more adaptable to different requirements in the system. So how can you increase your energy yield is by installing PV optimizer with your solar PV modules. You can have long string designs, which I'll be explaining later as well. You do not need any fuses with the Huawei inverters, no DC combiner used. You are reducing the balance of system cost because you do not need DC combiners in your PV plant, and you are reducing the failure rate by having an inverter which has less quick wear part, such as no LCD, no fans, and all of this. And there is also a safety thing, which is AI powered AFCI with these inverters, and also the IV curve diagnosis, which I will be explaining in my latest slides more in depth. So how can you optimize your electricity cost is by installing PV optimizers. You can, if you have a rooftop and you are trying to avoid areas which are shaded partially in some time of the day, you can still use those areas in your PV project by using Huawei optimizer along with the solar PV modules and using Huawei inverters. These will increase your output generation by up to 30% and resulting into more energy. So if you have a PV project where you are not using an optimizer, and let's suppose you have a chiller in your rooftop as shown in this picture, so two of the solar PV panels are shaded, due to which the rest of solar PV panels are also having less current in the same string. Thus, the efficiency of the solar panels, which are non-shaded as well, are reduced. When you have an optimizer with your solar panels, so the non-shaded PV panels will perform its 100% efficiency, and the current and voltage will remain the same, because the PV optimizer actually increases the shaded PV panels current and lift it to the level where it is actually matching the non-shaded PV panels current. In these PV optimizers can be used in scenarios where you have on your rooftop vents and nearby you have solar panel, air conditioner on the rooftops, fencing, you have base station on a rooftop or billboard. These are all hindrances which can cause shade on your rooftop, and by installing optimizer with your solar panels, these will actually benefit you, that your strings will generate higher energy yield. So going to the next one, you can install more PV modules in one string. Now you are not limited with the input voltage range. Rather, you will be actually limited by max PV power per string input, because the optimizers, when you install in a string, will actually play with the voltage in order to bring it down to the level where it matches the string voltage input requirement of the inverter. And by decreasing the voltage of your PV string, it is also on the other end increasing the current. Thus there is no power loss, but yeah, you can install more solar panels in one string. And the max PV capacity per string that you can connect with 12 to 40 kilowatt sizes of inverter is actually 10 kilowatt per string. Just to give you an example, let's suppose you have a 350 watt PV panel. So you would be allowed to actually make a string size of 28 PV panels, while in normal scenarios you might be limited to install a maximum of, let's say, 22 solar panels. When you are making longer strings and you are actually reducing your DC cabling, and also this is actually affecting the balance of system cost, which is actually the key thing for all the APCs, that they want to reduce the balance of system cost. So this will also result into reduced risk of failure. So Huawei uses as a standard 2 string per MPPT for the C&I inverters, which results into more energy yield. And you can see that with the 50 and 60 kilowatt inverter, there is 6 MPPTs. With the 100 kilowatt inverter, there is 10 MPPTs. With inverter of sizes 30, 36, and 40, there are 4 MPPTs. All of these MPPTs are having 2 string inputs, and you can install, different orientation PV modules to a particular to different MPPT of the inverter. So thus allowing you to have these inverters to be adaptable in many different scenarios, such as you can install them in shaded areas, in installations where you have different azimuths, in installations where you have different tilt angles, and still having higher PV output from the inverter. So a case was established in Bangkok, and Huawei inverter was used in parallel to a third-party inverter. So for one whole month, the generation of both the PV plant was observed, and you can see that on many different days, Huawei outperformed in terms of its energy yield and on the average, Huawei provided 1.56 additional yield. So if you think of 1.6% in the 25 year life cycle, this is a huge energy, that Huawei is giving you additional as compared to the other third-party inverters in the market. PID can severely reduce PV system output by 30% or more. So now Huawei has this PID recovery feature as inbuilt feature inside the inverters, from 12 to 40 kilowatt inverter sizes. With the 100 kilowatt, it is still under development. What PID is, it is actually a natural phenomena that negatively affects your PV module performance. What happens is, normally with the high negative potential of your PV string, there is a high chance of sodium ions going from the surface of your solar panels to the cells inside solar PV panels. These will actually limit the performance of your PV panels, and your solar PV panels will start producing less power. If you have this feature in your inverter, these PID recovery will automatically happen at night. PID recovery has a high chance in high humidity, high temperature, and high contamination areas. This has been seen that the worst impact of PID is that it has significantly reduced the PV output to more than 30%. So there's a huge loss if you have a PID prone PV module, and that can actually reduce your PV module PV plant output. So inverters having such feature will definitely benefit you in order to have higher energy yields. So PID recovery, as I said, is a built-in feature of Huawei inverter. These effectively repairs module performance to the most of its initial power output. The recovery happens at night, where 5 watt power is consumed from the AC side connection to the inverter, and it actually sends potential to the negative side of your string in order to make sure that the potential between the negative side of your string to ground is reduced to almost zero. Thus, the PID recovery happens in this way. The feature of PID, as I said, is available from 12 to 20 kTL-M2 version, the 30 to 40 kTL-M3 version, and with the 100 kTL-M1, this is still to be developed. So you can see that this feature is normally not available in many of third-party inverter manufacturers, while Huawei has made it as a built-in feature as well. So just a case for you in order to understand the benefit of it. There was a project installed at Nissan car park project in Japan, and Huawei 50 kTL inverter was used with the external PID recovery. So this part of the PV plant having the same environmental conditions was used with PID recovery, installed with PID recovery, and there was part of this installation that didn't have this PID recovery. So as the time passes, and the installation where there was no PID recovery function used, the energy yield slightly actually reduced. In the first month, it was 0.12%, and in the second 0.31, and at the end it was actually giving 1.959% less production as compared to the section of the installation which had this PID recovery function. So you can see that this is PID recovery heals in the effect, and you will definitely get a higher energy yield. And since this is a built-in feature of inverter, so you are not installing additional devices in your PV plant in order to have such function. Active safety. So Huawei inverter has now the off a second interruption feature. This is a phenomena as well when you have broken PV cables or not properly connected DC connectors. There is a high chance of arcing that can happen. The current will flow through the air between the two broken sides of cable, and there is a high temperature that can rise in that location. And if there is a flammable things near to this location, there is a high chance of fire to get caught. So Huawei inverters have these as a built-in feature, and when there is an arcing happening in a particular string, this is being sensed by the frequency that in the line that is the DC cable line, and there is a huge database inside the Huawei inverter firmware, which is cross-checked with that data through an artificial intelligence powered algorithm in order to check whether these signal, high frequency signal coming from the DC cable is corresponding to an arc fault or no. And with a very high accuracy, this will give you a fault that yes, this is an arcing issue in your string, and a major alarm will be raised and your inverter will get stopped. So Huawei inverter has these AFCI feature as a built-in with 12 to 40 kilowatt sizes. With the 100 kilowatt, there comes a Pro version that supports this feature. And this feature has a self-learning new arc features and adopts it for the future reference in order to not give you any false alarms of arc fault. And some key feature about the C&I tailored enhanced arcing protection is that there is a UL requirement where it states that when you have up to 80-meter string lengths of PV cables, you should have this arcing protection. While Huawei has surpassed that requirement of UL, and up to string lengths of 200 meter, the AFCI can be detected from the inverter side. Also, the UL requirement is that up to 16 ampere per MPPT, the AFCI feature should be supported, while Huawei outperforms that requirement as well with 62% better results. And Huawei inverters has 26 ampere per MPPT as IMP, and the AFCI feature works fine with 26 ampere as well. Zero volt module level voltage shutdown. When you are using power optimizer with all of your solar PV panels, and you are stopping the inverter from the DC side or from the AC side, the solar panels on the rooftop having optimizers with all the solar panels will automatically give you an output of 0 volt on the output of your optimizer. Thus, there is no potential on the rooftop and there is no hazard in your cables. This is a safety feature with the PU optimizer when you use, and thus this gives you a lot of safety for the installers or the O&M team when they will be doing any maintenance on the rooftop. So pinpoint arc fault positioning for easier troubleshooting. Uh, in Huawei, you can do the mapping of your whole rooftop in your Fusion Solar application, which is the monitoring platform of your P plant when you use the Huawei inverters. So in the layout that you can create as shown in this mobile screen on this page, the P module which will have an issue with the arc fault will be pointed when you look into this layout, that this particular module on your rooftop has this arcing issue, thus making your detection of arc fault very easy. So such detection takes minutes when you use a Huawei inverter with full optimizer. But if you have, let's say, a third-party inverter with no optimizers and you have an arcing issue, so for 100 kilowatt size of a PV plant of a third-party inverter, you would be needing around 2 days in order to send your engineer, find out string by string, and by that where could possibly be this arcing issue. So this reduces a lot of your time in order to detect the arcing issue. And apart from the detection and number of days, it is also giving you higher energy yield due to this feature, because in a conventional PV plant, you would be actually turning off your PV plant for 2 days, let's say, in order to find out where exactly this issue could be. Now with Huawei, you would be detecting these within minutes, and you can see it in your mobile phone where exactly the issue is and send someone in order to rectify it. Now the AFCI feature from Huawei is TUV certified with the IEC 63027, and the requirement from IEC is 80 meter, and with the three-phase Huawei arc fault feature works up to 200 meters, surpassing the requirement of IEC. And with the IMAX and voltage level of 318 volt, IEC asks you to have this AFCI feature, while Huawei AFCI feature works with all the voltage range of the input that Huawei mentions on the data sheet. The shutdown time from IEC states that the system should shut down within 2.5 seconds, but Huawei shuts down your inverter within 0.5 seconds, much quicker. So this time is something very important when it comes to safety. So the arc energy, normally the arcing has certain energy in the cables. So that arcing energy requirement to be detected is 750 joules, while Huawei arc for circuit interruption can detect as 500 joule arcing as well in your DC line. So arcing detection accuracy is required to be 100%, and Huawei inverters has passed that 100% detection accuracy as well. And the IEC doesn't stress you to have pinpoint arc fault positioning, while Huawei supports this feature when you have a full optimizer in your PV plant. So what is the better experience part? You will have module auto mapping when you are having full optimizer, so you can map it on your Fusion Solar platform in order to have the complete layout of your PV plant, and thus seeing the voltage and current of each PV module. And in case of any issue such as AFCI, you can exactly identify which PV module has that issue. The inverter is maintenance free because it doesn't uses fans, it doesn't use LCD screens, and yeah, this is why inverter are kind of maintenance free, and these inverters are ready for smart diagnosis as well, which is the IV curve. So Huawei inverters are using AI technology and power electronics with a joint venture from a third party, uses natural cooling, and being a huge giant in the market for communication technology, Huawei has a very fine product for communication as well. Huawei uses big data analysis in order to do the self-learning and also do the off-fault detection in your PV plants. The module auto mapping with Huawei inverter and full optimizer happens in less than 40 seconds. But if you have optimizers from third party with their inverter, this can take you around 30 minutes. So the Huawei is reducing a lot of time in mapping them in your PV plant layout for the monitoring, reducing the time up to 95%. Up to 40 kilowatt, up to 60 kilowatt rather, Huawei inverters are fanless, and there is no fan used. With the 100 kilowatt inverter, there is a smart cooling with fans as well, due to the size of the inverter being so big. Huawei inverter doesn't have an LCD. The application in your mobile for Fusion Solar works as LCD for the inverter itself when you are near to the inverter. And yeah, so you do not need any fuses with these inverters, thus less failure rate. So TUV has verified the annual failure rate to be less than 0.5%, and for special PV projects in TUV has verified the inverter availability rate up to 99.996%. So when you're doing your designs and you're simulating a particular PV project, so you might be using a higher availability rate for Huawei, which is around 99.5%. But when you're using a third party, these failure rate could be bigger, and thus your simulation results will show you lesser energy yield as compared to Huawei due to availability for the whole year as well due to failure. One smart dongle supports up to 10 devices. So the dongle can be used with one of the inverter, and the rest of the 9 inverters can be daisy chained with each other, and dongle will get the data of all these 10 inverters and will send it to the Fusion Solar cloud. There are two types of devices: WLAN-FE. The WLAN-FE works as a Wi-Fi device, or it can also work as a cable connection device to your internet router to get connection to the internet. Apart from this, if you are installing your PV projects in areas where there is no internet connectivity, so you can also have the 4G dongle version and insert a SIM card with monthly data package, and the inverter will send data to the Fusion Solar Cloud as well through the 4G dongle. The smart IV curve diagnostic is one of trend-setting feature in Huawei. When you use the dongle and the smart logger in your PV plant on Fusion Solar, you have these feature that will allow you to create a PDF report by one click, and your PV plant will start diagnosing the health of each string in your PV plant, and the inverter will send these data to the Fusion Solar. Fusion Solar Cloud will analyze the IV curve of each string and generate a PDF report, and will be giving you this report. In conventional scenarios, if in order to do the health check of your PV plants, you need a special, IV curve diagnostic tools, and you need to send your engineers to your project site in order to find out what could be a possible issue in your PV project. While with Huawei, you don't need to be, sending anyone to the project site for diagnostic purpose, and a PDF report can be generated by one click on Fusion Solar website when you have the license for it, and 14 different faults in your strings can be detected through these. The PDF report will tell you which strings are healthy and which strings are not healthy, and what are the issues with those strings, and what are the remedies in order to solve the PV string issue in your PV plant. The smart IV curve diagnosis has been adopted in projects of more than 7 gigawatt worldwide. Just for a reference, there is a case shown in this slide. There was a project of 3.44 megawatt in China, and using IV curve diagnostic when the health of the strings were checked. So 11.7% of strings were not healthy due to many different reasons, and it has been checked globally with all of the 7 gigawatt application worldwide, that the top 4 PV module failure are due to string short circuit, the Dower short circuit, and due to less output current, and that all. So when you know what is the issue with your PV plant, and you do not need special devices, you can easily identify the issues through Huawei platform, and remedies could be adopted in order to solve the issues and increase your PV plant energy yield. So add innovations that supports the optimal electricity cost using Huawei inverters are AI featured AFCI protection, module level voltage shutdown when you use optimizers, the arc fault protection that works for 200-meter string length and up to 26 ampere per MPPT. With optimizer, you have the capability to generate 30% more energy. The built-in PID feature is also outperforming the conventional manufacturers in the market. The module auto mapping is also less time taking, which is 40 seconds as compared to a 30-minute time with available solution in the market. There is no quick wear part in these inverter, thus higher availability. And on the online smart IV curve diagnosis, and you do know which is a feature for the health check of your PV strings through the inverters online monitoring platform. So these are all the key areas where Huawei C&I inverters outperforms the other inverter manufacturers. So the product portfolio from Huawei, as you can see, there is from 12 to 20 kilowatt size is one range, then from 30 to 40, then 50 and 60 kilowatt size, the 100 kilowatt, the optimizer, the dongers, the smart logger, the power sensor, and the online monitoring platform. These slides will be shared after this webinar to your registered email addresses, and you can view in detail about the features in the table as well. So thank you very much for your time. Now we will go to the Q&A section, and I will be answering one by one your questions. Okay, so the first question that we have is from Sayed Faiz, who asks, 100 kTL inverter is the only highest capacity range available in the market, or it can be resized to higher capacity as per requirements in the market. So Huawei manufactures the 100 kTL as an LV inverter, which is the highest LV inverter in the market as of now with the 10 MPPTs. And but Huawei inverters also provides you of bigger sizes, but that are normally for utility scale projects of 185 kTL and 200 kTL. Yeah, so these are currently in the low voltage inverter range. 100 kTL is the biggest. What is the rating of CT needed for the power sensors? This depends on your project and the power line current. So per project, you might have a different current rating on your grid side that where you will be installing your power meters. So yeah, so you can look at your peak load current and accordingly size your CTs. Does Huawei have PV inverters with capacity to generate power without AC voltage and frequency? The residential range of inverters are now compatible with Luna 2000 lithium-ion batteries, and if you have no grid, they can be adopted for off-grid as well. And yeah, you can run those inverters without grid as well as a off-grid. So for more information, please watch out my previous webinar about the residential scenario, and you will have a lot of insight about how these inverters can be used in such scenario. But the C&I inverters cannot be adopted for these applications. Does Jubilee also supply such CT needed for the power sensors? The power sensors are provided inside the power sensor package of Huawei, so you do not need to buy it from third party. But when you buy power meters from the market, you will need to buy the CTs separately. But there are standard current rating CTs that are supplied with Huawei power sensors. Does Huawei have PO inverters with capacity to generate power without AC? So this is the same question. I need to move to the next one. Can the Huawei inverters MPPT operate without balancing across all MPPT input, or must the MPPTs be balanced, meaning a PV feed into each MPPT input? And this is a very good question, Sean. You do not need to use all the MPPTs in the inverter. Let's suppose you have a 100 kilowatt inverter with 10 MPPT. You could be using 8 of the MPPTs. But balancing of a string is required in terms of distributing your strings to different MPPTs. So let's suppose, just for example, you have 10 strings going to 10 for 100 kTL. So you will be installing one string per MPPT rather than two strings per MPPT in order to distribute your strings on all the MPPTs. Can these presentation be emailed to me? Yes, these presentation will be emailed to your registered email address. User only know how percent output from total power and lifetime and price in my country? Well, if you're asking about the output of your PV plant, and the revenue generation out of your generation, so this can be monitored on Fusion Solar monitoring platform. I hope I have understood your question correct and I've answered it. So the answer is monitoring on your Fusion Solar platform. What is the maximum DC-AC ratio with Sun 2100 KTL M1? George, these highly depends on where you are using the inverter, and you shouldn't be ultimately having any losses due to the inverter loss going above phenomenal in your PV simulations and designs. So yeah, from the manufacturer side, you are good to go up to 1.4 times of the rated capacity, which is almost 140 kilowatt. The output current needed from the city to the power sensors. The output current from the city, well, the power sensors from Huawei supplied are with a 50 milliampere output current going to the power sensor. Can the Huawei inverters for C&I operate in islanding mode? Yeah, Huawei inverters are on grid and they can work in the islanding mode when there is no grid. Does the Sun 2000 inverter work as a hybrid inverter, and does it work only with the Huawei battery? The Huawei Sun 2000 residential inverter can work with Huawei battery only, but the C&I sector doesn't support the battery. What is the continuous AC current through the inverter on the 100 kTL? Well, the AC output current of the inverter varies based on your DC installation, based on the sun availability, based on what time of the day. So this is definitely varying, but the peak AC current that you can get from the 100 kTL is around 160 ampere, which is clearly mentioned in the datasheet as well. I think this is the last question in the Q&A mode. If there is no any further question, I would thank you all for joining this session. Thank you very much. We have one final survey about this webinar itself. I would ask my colleague Daisy to pull the final survey, and then we are finished with today's webinar, and I would be happy to see you guys again in our next webinar session happening probably in 2 weeks from now. Thanks again for joining, and keep attending our new webinars as well.